What's up, Vault Dwellers? You know, cosmic horror isn't about the monsters under the bed. It's about the bed itself collapsing into an infinite void. The genre, rooted in the writings of H.P. Lovecraft and his contemporaries, thrives on the fear that the universe is vast, uncaring, and just full of truths our little brains weren't built to handle. But long before tentacles became shorthand for the unknown, filmmakers in Europe and Hollywood, they were already experimenting with madness, shadows, cocaine, and the terror of insignificance. These early visions built the foundation for every slime-dripping, sanity-shattering movie that came after. So today, we're counting down the 13 classic cosmic horror films. These are the films that cracked open the void and invited us to stare back. Okay, let's get weird.
Devison's been found. Dead. Mutilated. Oh my, his body was clean dry of blood. You see, Smith was right. It shows insects. They mutated and they're hungry. Oh, come on. Shut up, will you, Jimmy? Inspector Brigadier, you gotta cordon off those woods. Insects are tremendous eaters.
This was released in 1958, and Cosmic Monsters, which is also known under the title of The Strange World of Planet X. It's one of those films where the ideas are much bigger than the budget, and the bugs, they're bigger than the set designers probably wanted to deal with. This story follows the scientist who's tampering with magnetic fields, and he accidentally opens Earth up to cosmic interference. Before long, we've got giant insects who are terrorizing the countryside, and then mysterious aliens appear not to conquer us, but to warn us. We're messing with forces we don't understand, and the consequences, they could be catastrophic.
Have you considered the dangers of upsetting that field? It has happened before in history, you know, with catastrophic results.
What makes this creaky little British B-movie fascinating, it's how it blends Cold War paranoia with genuine Lovecraftian undertones. The aliens, they're not villains. They're essentially cosmic referees, telling humanity we're out of our depth.
Oh no, there aren't any giant dragonflies.
Then where I come from?
There aren't any giant dragonflies anywhere.
What about on the moon, then?
The bugs, meanwhile, they're just side effects of meddling with the fabric of reality.
The insects.
Insects?
Oh mon Dieu, no.
Sure, I mean, the special effects, they look quaint now, with like obvious miniatures and unconvincing giant beetles. But the message, it still hits hard. Sometimes the scariest monster, it isn't the one stomping through your backyard. It's the knowledge that the universe, it doesn't care if your species survives its own curiosity.
Without being aware of it, your newspapers were very near the truth when they spoke of mysterious invaders from Planet X.
Am I going crazy?
In fact, there was but one invader. It was I.
I think that's rather foolish.
Gibbons.
This was released the same year as Cosmic Monsters, and Fiend Without a Face proves that British sci-fi horror, it wasn't afraid to get nasty. The premise, it's a series of unexplained deaths near a US airbase in Canada, and turns out to be caused by invisible thought creatures born from a professor's experiments.
I now know that I have created a mental vampire. Fiend.
Once the creatures gain physical form, they reveal themselves as pulsating brains with spinal cords attached, and they're crawling, leaping, and wrapping around victims' throats like something dragged out of a dream. It's both grotesque and just weirdly mesmerizing. What makes Fiend Without a Face such a standout, it's just the sheer audacity of the effects. The climatic siege, full of twitching stop-motion brain beasts oozing and spurting when shot. This was so shocking back in 1958. It went well beyond the safe thrills of giant ants and saucermen. This was body horror decades before Cronenberg. Thematically, it nails a central tenet of cosmic horror, the idea that our own intellect and curiosity could betray us.
There were many things you didn't know, my child. If you had You'll never come here again.
By externalizing thought as a monster, the film literalizes the fear that what lurks in our heads is as dangerous as anything from space.
What the heck? I'm human. We're all human here. We're not monsters from outer space.
I mean, it was cheaply made, but just genuinely disturbing. It's a creature feature that still feels unnerving in just all the right ways.
Mental vampire. That's rubbish. Possibly some animal.
Well, I've lived in these backwoods all my life. And I can assure you there's no animal in these parts or anywhere else for that matter that could do that.
Last week, 1,200 feet up the South Col. 3 English students, one of them was killed.
Was there an accident, Mr. Klein?
In the mountain, these things sometimes happen.
This was also known as the Trollenberg Terror. The Crawling Eye, back from 1958, it's just peak late-night creature feature. This was set in the Swiss Alps, and climbers start disappearing into strange mists and decapitated by something just no one can explain.
Where people climb mountains, there are lots of accidents.
Enter a UN troubleshooter and a pair of psychic sisters who uncover the truth. Colossal, one-eyed monsters lurking in the fog, tentacles writhing, and just unblinking gaze. The setup screams schlock, but the imagery, it just edges into the uncanny. That huge staring eye, it doesn't chase you. It judges you. It's like a living metaphor for being watched by something beyond comprehension. The special effects may look, outdated now, with rubber tentacles flailing against miniatures, but the mood is just pure cosmic dread.
Did you see him? You talking about his head? It was torn off.
The monsters live in the mountain because Earth itself is just a temporary host. There's a Lovecraftian bend here. Humans are ants scurrying while something older, colder, and unknowable creeps through the mist. For many in the UK, this was their gateway to cosmic horror on screen, later making the rounds on American television, searing that monstrous eye into kids' nightmares. It may not be high art, but it delivers the central cosmic horror punch. There are things out there staring back, and we're not prepared for their gaze.
Does the theory that you put forward last time still hold, Professor?
What theory?
Visitors from outer space, that was it, wasn't it?
And what else?
Well, what are they? What do they want?
They claim that Joseph Kerwin and 2 other warlocks were trying to open the gates to these dark gods.
Open the gates. How?
They claim that Joseph Kerwin was trying to mate those beings with humans.
Roger Corman's The Haunted Palace from 1963 was marketed as another Edgar Allan Poe adaptation, but it's actually a stealth Lovecraft story. Loosely based on the case of Charles Dexter Ward, it stars Vincent Price as a man who inherits a cursed New England palace, only to discover it was once the lair of a necromancer who tried to summon ancient, otherworldly gods.
But the Necronomicon supposedly contained formulas through which one could communicate with or even summon the elder god.
Cue some possession, a little bit of madness, and an entire village afraid to even speak the old names. Corman's Gothic style, heavy on the fog and the lighting, lends the film an operatic gloom. Price excels in dual roles, a sympathetic heir and a sinister sorcerer, embodying the cosmic horror theme of identity unraveling under forces larger than oneself.
We don't fully understand ourselves. We obey. So, we obey.
Though limited by budget and censorship, the film leans on atmosphere and suggestion, hinting at unspeakable rituals and eldritch entities waiting just beyond sight.
Young girls were said to have disappeared from their homes, to be gone until dawn, and then reappear with no memory of their whereabouts.
For mainstream American audiences, this is one of the first times Lovecraft's name, even disguised under Poe's, crept into theaters. It's not just a haunted house horror. It's about what happens when ancestral evil and alien gods bleed into human bloodlines. In other words, classic Lovecraft by way of Vincent Price, and a perfect marriage of Gothic and cosmic dread.
He's taken her mind, her soul. The good Lord knows what else, just like the others. What do we do about it? Let's go on with his black magic or send him back to the hell he came from.
That every day, several men were sent out to gather edibles to add to their diet, and that none ever returned. Perhaps this was due to the mushrooms, which grow in great abundance on the island.
From Ishiro Honda, the man behind Godzilla, came one of the most chilling allegories in Japanese horror. Matango, released in 1963, known in the US as Attack of the Mushroom People.
What happened? The steps are slimy! It's fungus!
And it follows a group of castaways stranded on a mysterious island. Soon, food runs short. Tensions are mounting, and then they discover the strange, oversized mushrooms. Eating them means survival, but also transformation. As one by one, the group turns into these grotesque, fungal humanoids. While the American marketing leaned to goofy monster suits, the film itself is slow, moody, and just deeply unsettling.
Hey, not so good. Even the birds don't want to hang around here.
The island feels alive. The mushrooms, not just plants, but an alien intelligence consuming human will. Cosmic horror thrives on the idea of assimilation, of losing individuality to a greater, incomprehensible force. And Matango nails it with fungal precision. The makeup effects, though modest, are super effective. The grotesque hybrids are still recognizably human, making their fate all that more tragic. Post-war Japan had a fresh memory of scarcity, displacement, and radiation, all of which echo here. Beneath the pulp exterior, Matango is a haunting metaphor for the fragility of civilization and how easily hunger and desperation can make us surrender to forces beyond our control.
And once you start, you can't stop.
Yoshida.
Are you in pain? Is it something to do with your asthma? I'll just take a look. I won't hurt it, I promise.
Before America had its giant ants, Britain had Professor Quatermass. The Quatermass Experiment from 1955 follows the aftermath of a space mission gone horribly wrong. Only one astronaut returns, but his body, it's slowly mutating into something alien. And with every stage of transformation, his humanity slips further away. Professor Quatermass, equal parts scientist and doomsayer, realizes Earth might be facing invasion, not by ships, but by contamination.
If, even by accident, it could enter one of those structures, what a way to invade the Earth.
What makes this such a crucial step in cosmic horror cinema, it's the creeping inevitability. The infected astronaut, he's not evil. He's a victim of something incomprehensible, absorbed into a force that doesn't recognize human boundaries. The black and white cinematography heightens the clinical dread, turning labs and hospital rooms into battlegrounds against the unknown.
I'm a scientist, not a fortune teller who predicts what will happen.
Released as The Creeping Unknown in the US, it helps cement the scientific horror subgenre. The script frames science not just as a savior, but as a Pandora's box, where discovery comes with unimaginable costs.
To gamble with 3 men's lives. Every experiment is a gamble. The unknown is always a risk. They should know that.
Cosmic horror thrives on the idea that space, it just isn't for us. That when we reach out, we might bring something back that changes us forever. The Quatermass Experiment embodies that fear perfectly.
If one of these cactus plants was subject to the same mutation, there could be an affinity, a union between plant and animal,
with the ability to destroy and possess
and multiply.
Put it down as slowly as you can.
It's hanging overshirt. What he said.
On the floor. Put it on the floor.
This is 2 years after the Quatermass Experiment, and Nigel's skeptical scientist returns in Quatermass 2, a story steeped in paranoia.
Nothing very sinister so far.
Professor Quatermass investigates a government plant It looks suspiciously like a duplicate of his own moon-based design.
That plant is producing deadly poison. Poison to every earthly creature.
Who's making poison?
Inside, officials are acting strange, almost possessed, and mysterious meteors are falling from the sky. It just all adds up to a slow-motion takeover with alien organisms infiltrating positions of power. This sequel sharpens the cosmic edge by merging political paranoia with alien invasion.
This is ludicrous.
Nevertheless, I'm going to do it. I'll play the game their way.
The pod people trope would explode in the invasion of the body snatchers. But this take is much darker. Assimilation isn't just personal, it's systemic. What if entire governments were already compromised by something that isn't human? The black slime oozing from meteorites feels tactile and nasty, and just weirdly ahead of its time. While not as widely seen as the American counterpart, Quatermass 2 helped set the tone for British sci-fi horror. Grounded, cynical, and uncomfortably plausible. Its influence would echo through later conspiracy-driven horror, and its core idea that alien colonization might look like bureaucracy. It's as chilling as any tentacle.
Inside those domes are creatures from outside this earth.
Are you mad?
I've seen them. Thousands of tiny creatures that can join together and expand into things 100 feet high. And each one can infect a human being.
Like the dead Sheila.
Yes. And those wretched creatures you call zombies.
There is no difference you can actually see. He looks, sounds, acts, and remembers like Uncle Ira.
Then he is your Uncle Ira. Can't you see that? No matter how you feel, he is.
But he isn't. There's something missing.
Few films captured the creeping paranoia of the 1950s as perfectly as Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Back in 1956, the premise of this movie is deceptively simple. Sea pods from space replicate human beings, replacing them with emotionless doubles.
The words, gesture, the tone of voice, everything else is the same, but not the feeling.
Dr. Miles Bennell slowly uncovers the truth, realizing that friends, neighbors, and even loved ones, they can no longer be trusted.
Yes, man. Morning, Doc.
The climax leaves humanity teetering on the edge of assimilation. The genius of the film lies in its ambiguity. It can be read as Cold War allegory about communism, or as a critique of conformity in Eisenhower America. Either way, the existential horror is just pure Lovecraftian dread. Identity itself is fragile, and humanity, it's no longer significant, no more than weeds in a cosmic garden. The black and white cinematography emphasizes shadows and doubles, making the ordinary world feel just subtly wrong. While later remakes would amp up the gore or cynicism, the original remains unnerving because of its restraint. The idea that you could lose everything, not to violence, but to replacement, remains one of the purest distillations of cosmic horror on film.
Oh, what do you think? Will psychiatry help?
If all this is a nightmare, yes.
Of course it's a nightmare. Plants from another world taking over human beings. Mad as a March hare.
Gentlemen, do you realize what we've found? A being from another world, as different from us as one pole from the other. If we can only communicate with it, we can learn secrets that have been hidden from mankind.
Before Carpenter gave us paranoia and body horror in the 80s, the world first met the Thing in 1951. In this, a group of scientists and Air Force officers discover a spacecraft buried in Arctic ice.
Tell them we found a passcode.
On Mars? Where?
On ice, buddy, on ice.
Only to unleash a plant-based alien with a taste for blood. The creature, played by James Arness, under heavy makeup, stalks them through claustrophobic hallways while they argue about whether to fight, study, or flee.
You're robbing science of the greatest secret that's ever come. Better go back. Knowledge is more important than life.
Though more of a monster movie than a faithful Lovecraftian tale, the DNA of cosmic horror runs very deep here. The alien is intelligent, utterly inhuman, and barely concerned with humanity's survival. Hawk's fingerprints are all over the brisk, overlapping dialogue.
Of course, if you don't want us to go,
We don't have to go. I'm going to leave.
But beneath the wit is an unsettling premise. mankind is woefully unprepared for what's out there. The final warning, keep watching the skies, echoes like a sermon from the atomic age. This film proved that sci-fi horror, it could be serious, tense, and socially relevant, laying the groundwork for decades of isolation-based dread. Carpenter may have made the definitive version, but this original showed the audiences that sometimes the most terrifying discovery is the one that's thawing in your basement.
Shot at it, I hit it, I know it. Nothing happened. It just kept coming at me, making a noise like a cat mealing. And it was awful. You could see those hands and those eyes. You've got to do something about it.
This is a very interesting house you have here, Pelsig. It has an atmosphere. Kind of,
It isn't hard to describe. It's hard to describe as life or death.
Though marketed as a Poe adaptation, The Black Cat from 1934, it has little to do with Poe and just everything to do with cosmic dread wrapped in gothic decadence. Bela Lugosi plays a tormented psychiatrist out for revenge against a sinister architect, played with icy menace by Boris Karloff.
You dare play chess with me?
The architect's ultra-modern home conceals a secret. It's built atop a World War I graveyard and doubles as a temple for satanic and occult practices.
Sounds like a lot of supernatural baloney to me.
The cosmic horror here, it isn't tentacles, but it's the atmosphere. The sharp, expressionist visuals turn the house into a geometric nightmare, where walls feel as oppressive as the monsters. Karloff's architect, obsessed with control and power, comes across less as a man as a priest of forces older than reason. The suggestion of ritual sacrifice, of evil so calmly integrated into the rational world, embodies Lovecraft's vision of terror hidden behind civility. The Black Cat shocked Depression-era audiences with its themes of necrophilia and occultism, slipping past censors thanks to its surreal tone. Today, it remains one of Universal's most stylish horrors, a film that whispers cosmic horror doesn't always need creatures, only the knowledge that something vast and inhuman lies beneath a modern order.
Masterpiece of construction built upon the ruins of the masterpiece of destruction, the masterpiece of murder.
You may talk with him about anything you please, about the world he comes from, but you must say nothing about me, nothing about the law, nothing about the House of Pain.
Islands of Lost Souls from 1932. It's one of the earliest and still most disturbing adaptations of H.G. Wells' The Island of Dr. Moreau.
Dr. Moreau's Island. It stinks all over the South Sea.
Charles Lawton plays Dr. Moreau, a genteel sadist performing surgical experiments that transform animals into grotesque human hybrids. The infamous House of Pain, where these procedures occur, echoes with screams that feel ripped from a nightmare.
What's that?
The house of pain.
This is pre-code Hollywood, and it didn't shy away from unsettling material. And this film went further than most. The Manimals, created with impressive makeup for the time, embody the horror of forced evolution. The idea that humanity is only a hair's breadth removed from the animals it fears to become again. Lawton's smug cruelty adds another layer to this. Here is a man who plays God, but the gods he serves are indifferent and cruel.
Do you know what it means to feel like God?
The chilling "Are we not men?" chant from the beast folk has echoed for decades. But strip away the pulp trappings, and what remains is a classic cosmic dread. Science wielded without conscience. A reminder that reshaping nature often reshapes us in ways we can't control.
You made us in the House of Pain, not men! Not men! Party!
Nosferatu, filmed in 1922, it isn't just a Dracula knockoff. It's one of the earliest attempts to channel the feeling of something just otherworldly and wrong into moving images. Count Orlok is no suave aristocrat, but he's a gaunt, rat-like figure, a walking plague who brings death and disease wherever he goes. His arrival is framed less as a seduction than an infestation, the town slowly rotting under his presence. Expressionist set design and use of negative space give the film its nightmarish power. Orlok doesn't just attack. He seeps into every corner of the frame like a contagion of dread. While not explicitly Lovecraftian, it taps into the same anxieties. An ancient, unknowable force intrudes upon the modern world, reducing human lives to afterthoughts. Even the famous sunrise finale, it doesn't bring relief. It only reinforces that humanity's survival is fragile, dependent on just lucky chances. Orlok isn't just a vampire. He's pestilence given form, a reminder of how small we are against the forces of nature and history. Nosferatu still feels like cosmic horror, painted in black and white shadows. This is often hailed as the first true horror film. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari from 1920 is pure expressionist delirium. The story follows the sinister Dr. Caligari, who uses a sleepwalking servant, Caesar, to commit murders in a small German town. But as the narrative unfolds, reality itself unravels. Is Caligari a man, a myth, or merely the manifestation of insanity? The film's painted sets, all warped angles and impossible shadows, create a visual world where logic has collapsed, the perfect canvas for cosmic horror. While Lovecraft was still writing in obscurity at the time, Caligari anticipates his central themes: madness, perception, and the fragility of reality. The final twist, revealing the narrator's unreliability, suggests the horror might not come from the monster at all, but from the breakdown of reason itself. German audiences, still reeling from World War I, saw in it a reflection of chaos and distrust in authority. For modern viewers, it stands as the blueprint of psychological and cosmic horror on film. More than a century later, its jagged skyline still points directly into the abyss. These films laid the groundwork for everything we call cosmic horror today. Next time, we're going to leap forward into Part 2, The Age of Paranoia. The 1970s and 80s where practical effects, political distrust, and buckets of gore brought the cosmic horror screaming into the modern age. Until then, keep watching the skies, and as always, keep it weird, folks.